So the talk now with the filming of Episode 9 beginning is the possible return of Supreme Leader Snoke in Star Wars Episode 9, directed by J.J. Abrams, picking up where Episode 8 left off, The Last Jedi, which was written and directed by Rian Johnson. And the popular fan theory that I've seen is that even though Andy Serkis was not listed in the cast for the Episode 9 film, you have to remember that they don't always tell you everything in the cast list. For example, Frank Oz as Yoda was not revealed in the cast list for Last Jedi, and he wound up being in the movie. So it's one of those things where just because you don't see somebody actually appearing in the cast list does not mean they're going to be there. And the popular fan theory is that with J.J. Abrams taking over for Rian Johnson, he's going to go back and kind of fix some of the things that Rian Johnson had, I guess according to many fans, screwed up in The Last Jedi. And one of the things was killing off Supreme Leader Snoke, with the idea being that Snoke was killed by Kylo Ren, and even though it was a great moment for Kylo Ren, we never found out anything about Snoke, and as a result of that, his death was less impactful. We don't know, even to this day, why Kylo even knows Snoke, where they met. That story has not been told yet, and I'm sure it'll be told in books, but the majority of Star Wars fans, and this is a fact, don't read the books and they don't read the comics. They just go see the movies. So most fans might never even know. I mean, maybe they'll go to Wikipedia or something someday, but most don't even know. And when the way they killed him off in the film, it was almost like, it didn't even matter. And really, according to Rian Johnson, it didn't matter because the story was about the ascension of Kylo Ren. Now, the popular, fan theory going around is that before Supreme Leader Snoke died, he knew that Kylo Ren was going to do what he did, and he used a Force ability, which was actually discussed in one of the fake leaks for this film, to where Snoke has the ability to take his consciousness and project it into another body. So it's sort of like what Luke Skywalker did, where he projected his, image across the galaxy, but instead Snoke projected his, his brain, or his soul. Soul is, I guess, the right word to use here, and implanted it in somebody else. And the big theory is that he put it in, Hux, and that Snoke is going to pretend to be Hux for a while until the time is right when he can backstab Kylo Ren and take over by controlling Hux's body. Now, as cool as that theory does sound, and it definitely is a new Force power, I feel like we're probably not going to see that. And the reason for that is, even though I think a lot of fans think J.J. Abrams is going to come in here and sort of write over the perceived, things or story changes that Rian Johnson made with Last Jedi, I don't see that being the case when it comes to the overall arc of the story. I think J.J. Abrams doing that, in a way, kind of hurts Last Jedi. And I was one who, as you know, I didn't like Last Jedi, but as a person who understands kind of what these creative guys go through, I'm not a filmmaker, but I make videos, and I edit. On this channel, I do mostly podcast type stuff where it's just me talking over a picture. Over on Geekdom 101, my main channel, I do edit and, put effects and whatnot into the videos. Here, not really. The thing is, as somebody who understands that, having J.J. Abrams just throw away what Rian Johnson did is just not something I can see him doing, not just because of the respect between the two, but also because of the fact that a lot of fans really like Last Jedi. And you have to be careful, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to make The Last Jedi feel like it didn't count. It's a very dangerous game that JJ's kind of stuck in right now with the fandom being split. But at the same time, someone's going to say, well, what about Rian Johnson making Force Awakens not count? That's a great point, but two wrongs don't make a right. And if you take this movie and you just take a complete dump on Last Jedi without just trying to make a good movie, because really all we want is a good movie, I think it's going to be hurtful to the entire trilogy. I mean, this sequel trilogy is already off to a bad start. I mean, Force Awakens was okay. They went the nostalgic route. Last Jedi split the fandom. This movie has to reunite the fandom, or at least hope to. at least bring people back. That way, when they move forward with the anthology films, people go see them and they don't just give up on Star Wars. And yes, a lot of people have given up on Star Wars. I know some folks just can't accept that, but I've seen it with my own eyes. People have given up on the franchise. But I think if Episode 9 turns out to be a good movie, I think they'll come back. But making it a good movie does not mean erasing everything from Last Jedi. It means creatively making it so that what happened in Last Jedi counts, but doesn't affect the overall narrative that Abrams was trying to tell with the original screenplay for, 8 and 9, or the original story treatment that we found out was thrown away by Rian Johnson or just not used. So, with that in mind, I don't think Snoke is going to come back in this film. I think Luke coming back as a Force ghost is a given. I think the idea of Luke still being alive, which I did a video on already, is a little bit of a possibility, but I'm not going to say it's a strong one, because why would you do that if you can make him a ghost and he can always be around? Mark Hamill can be around. I don't foresee that happening here. I don't think they're going to bring Luke back to life, but I do think he will have an active role in the film as a Force ghost. I think J.J. Abrams is probably going to focus the story mostly on Rey and Kylo, and I know a lot of the fans don't want that because they obviously want the old cast, but I mean, Harrison Ford's out, Carrie Fisher legitimately passed away in real life, and they killed off Luke Skywalker. So at this point, all we can really hope for is a good story. Unfortunately, we can't go back in time and rewrite Force Awakens and erase the Last Jedi and all that stuff that people want. It's just not going to happen. We got to think about reality here. And the best thing for them to do is just tell a good story. And I think bringing Snoke back and having him be the main villain, again, as much as I wouldn't be totally bothered by it, to be honest. I think it would be kind of cool because I like Andy Serkis as that character. He was amazing, and I actually like the Snoke character from what we've seen. I just feel like it would be a step in the wrong direction. You know what I mean? If this Episode 8, Last Jedi, was meant to establish Kylo Ren as the leader of the First Order, that should stay that way. We got to work with our parameters here. He's the leader of the First Order. Rey and the Resistance, now the Rebellion, have to stop him. Here we go again. It's just up to Abrams and that whole team to figure out how we can end this trilogy to where everything is satisfactory. And it's going to have to be... They may have to pull out the trick bag for this one. What I mean by that is they may have to use a lot of smoke and mirrors. We may have to see, a lot of dazzling effects and a lot of... effects don't make up for a good story. We have to have at least a good story. But I think that the final battle in Episode 9 has to be so epic that people walk out of that movie theater and say, you know what, that was a satisfying conclusion to the Star Wars saga. And the problem is that some people are just not going to think that way because of what they did with Luke and other characters. It's just not going to ever be that way. But at least if you have a good finale, I'm not saying it can save the trilogy, but it'll at least be seen as a good movie and it'll be watchable. Versus Last Jedi, which, I mean, I know some people, including myself sometimes, not all the time, every time we watch that movie, we get mad. Like, the movie actually makes me mad. Not because it's a bad movie, but because of what they did with the characters and what could have been. False expectations and things like that have been tossed around a lot, but it wasn't false expectations. It was true expectations because this is Star Wars, and we always hold it to a much higher regard than other film franchises. So with that said, I don't think J.J. Abrams is going to bring back Supreme Leader Snoke. As much as I would love for him to do it, I don't see that happening. As far as who the villain's going to be, obviously Kylo Ren is going to be the villain along with Hux, and possibly even, for all we know, they might bust out a surprise and bring back Gwendolyn Christie as Phasma. We never actually saw her, quote, die. She could have escaped the ship. I totally see them possibly doing that. But that seems to be the way they're going. But there is some talk that, Snoke may have had another apprentice, and maybe we'll see Snoke's other apprentice appear in this film, and he'll take the role of being the main villain, and maybe Kylo can turn good and join up with Rey, which is what a lot of fans, the Reylo fans, want this real bad. They want it real bad. As far as I go, I don't think that's going to happen. I'm not saying that I like it or dislike the idea. I just don't think the trilogy is going in that direction. I don't think we're going to see Reylo. It would be something different, but it would also be something slightly predictable and in a way sort of cheesy after all the things Kylo Ren did. I just think that Kylo will be the supreme leader in this film, and it'll be up to Rey to stop him. Maybe she'll try to get through to him again, and it will work, or maybe it won't work. There's only a couple ways that this movie can end. I'm probably going to do a separate video about the different ways that this movie could end, because there are a couple of ideas out there as far as how they can end this trilogy. I have about 3 or 4, and one of them is a little bit unorthodox. One of them is a little bit different, and I'm curious to share that with you guys so that you kind of can tell me what you think, or maybe you think it sucks. That's fine. I mean, it's, you know, we're having fun here. When we make these videos, we just have it to have a good time, and kind of we talk, and it's not that serious. But the truth is, there's only a couple ways the story could end, and bringing Snoke back is gonna really feel like, oh, Abrams is trying to fix what Last Jedi broke, which he is trying to do. That's not wrong, but reversing everything that happened, especially that big twist, because that was a twist that I loved in the movie because it was unexpected. Even though I'm upset that Snoke didn't get a backstory, that was a twist that I didn't really hate. I thought it was shocking. Very shocking the first time I saw it. I was stunned for the remainder of the film. I didn't even know what the hell was going to happen next. And that's good. That's a good thing. That's one of the good things about Last Jedi. But it's also one of those things where reversing that does take away from The Last Jedi's value. And I don't like Last Jedi, but we have to be real here. Like, this is a trilogy. And in the future, people are going to want to see 7, 8, and 9 back to back. And if you do a bunch of stuff in 8, then you erase it in 9, or if you do a bunch of stuff in 7, then you erase it in 8, then you erase it again in 9. It's like, it's very jarring to the viewer, you know, and I just feel like it's bad and lazy storytelling. They have to work with what they have, and it's really going to be up to them figuring out a way to deliver a climactic finale that will please all the Star Wars fans, and it's not going to happen that way. Obviously, not every Star Wars fan will like this film. I'm not even sure if Abrams is the right guy to do this, considering his history as a filmmaker. I don't know if he's really the guy. No disrespect. He's not the kind of guy who's been known to close out franchises, you know, successfully. But, you know, at least if the majority of the fans, or at least the vocal ones that hate Last Jedi, walk out of Episode 9 and say, you know what, I had fun. Or, you know what, at least Abrams tried. And even if I didn't like it, at least he tried. That's the best thing they can hope for. So, anyways, that's it. Let me know what you think about Snoke coming back. Made a little video on it. Let me know your thoughts. Love you guys. I will talk to you soon. See you later.